They were brilliant, deeply flawed, and wildly different in their visions for the future. Uh, Yet together they built a nation. We call them the founding fathers. But to understand America, you have to understand the specific minds that engineered its DNA. Today, we dive into the lives of four titans: Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, and James Madison. We begin with the elder statesman, Benjamin Franklin. Born in 1706, he was a generation older than the rest of the founders. And Franklin was a self-made man, a printer, a globally renowned scientist, and an inventor who gave us the lightning rod and bifocals. But his greatest invention was American diplomacy. In Paris, he played the part of the rustic American philosopher perfectly, charming the French crown into funding the American Revolution. Without Franklin's diplomacy, the war would have been lost. He is the only founding father to sign all four key documents establishing the U.S., ending his life as a powerful voice against slavery. While Franklin negotiated in Europe, another mind was putting the philosophy of the revolution onto paper. Thomas Jefferson, a polymath, an architect and a man of profound contradictions. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. At just 33, he wrote the words that would define human rights for centuries, that all men are created equal.
Yet Jefferson enslaved over 600 people during his lifetime. It is a paradox that sits at the very heart of the American founding.
As the third president, Jefferson fundamentally altered the nation's destiny. He orchestrated the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, doubling the size of the country overnight, and launching the Lewis and Clark expedition to explore the vast unknown.
Jefferson envisioned an agrarian utopia of gentlemen farmers. But his greatest political rival had a very different planet.
Enter Alexander Hamilton, an orphaned, illegitimate immigrant from the Caribbean who rose to become George Washington's indispensable right hand. Hamilton was a force of nature. While others feared centralized power, Hamilton believed a strong federal government was essential for survival. To convince the public, he spearheaded the Federalist Papers, writing an astonishing 51 of the 85 essays himself. And as the first Secretary of the Treasury, he built the American financial system from scratch: a national bank, federal debt assumption, and a manufacturing-based economy.
The bitter rivalry between Hamilton and Jefferson essentially created the two-party political system.
Tragically, Hamilton's brilliant combative life was cut short in 1804, killed in a duel by Vice President Aaron Burr. And then, but the structure of the government Hamilton fought to centralize was largely designed by his former collaborator, James Madison. James Madison was the smallest of the founders, standing just 5'4", and rarely speaking above a whisper. But his intellect was towering, known as the father of the Constitution.
Madison arrived at the Constitutional Convention with a master plan.
He engineered the Virginia Plan, proposing the three branches of government and the system of checks and balances we use today. And when you make this initially, Madison Madison opposed a Bill of Rights, thinking it unnecessary, but to secure ratification, he changed his mind and personally drafted the first 10 amendments, guaranteeing freedom of speech, religion, and the press. As the fourth president, he led the nation through the War of 1812, watching the Capitol burn, before ultimately securing the peace. Madison was the last of the founding fathers to die, passing away in 1836. He outlived the era he helped create. Four men: Franklin, the pragmatic diplomat; Jefferson, the visionary idealist; Hamilton, the financial architect; and Madison, the master architect of the law. They did not always agree. In fact, they often despised one another, but it was precisely their fierce debates, clashes of ego, and necessary compromises that forged a resilient republic. There's experiencing a bit more of a value. They left behind a flawed but brilliant framework, an experiment in self-government that continues to evolve to this day. Their legacy isn't perfect, but it is deeply woven into every liberty and law Americans experience today. Which of these four founding fathers do you think have the greatest impact? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into history. Thanks for watching.